Hello, welcome to World News Today. Here are the top breaking stories for you. Call summary shows Trump urged Ukraine to investigate Biden. Explosive lawmaker get first look at whistleblower complaint. Intel chief to testify public about whistleblower case. Iran president warns UN that a single blunder could fuel big fire. Boris Johnson challenges political foes at Russia's parliament session with so much betrayal. Now details. The development begins Wednesday morning when the Justice Department released a summary of the July 25 call with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The call is included in an anonymous whistleblower complaint that the administration initially refused to hand over to Congress, a decision that ultimately led House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to launch an impeachment probe after months of reluctance. The summary, which was not verbatim transcript, showed the president urged Zelensky to work with his personal attorney Rudy Giuliani and Attorney General William Barr to investigate the aspects of the origins of Special Counsel Robert Mueller Russian probe, as well as the other thing, Biden's efforts in 2016 to oust a Ukrainian prosecutor widely seen by the West as corrupt. Mr. Trump and Giuliani have helped Biden acted to remove his prosecutor to protect his son, Hunter, who sat on the board of the Ukrainian energy company that had been under investigation. There's a lot of talk about Biden's sons, that Biden's top two prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out that, so whether you can do with the Attorney General would be great. Mr. Trump is summarized as saying, Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution, so if you can look into it. It sounds horrible to me. Biden has denounced the allegation as a smear and no evidence of the wrongdoing has emerged. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence gave lawmakers access to a whistleblower complaint that includes President Trump's conversation with the Ukrainian president on Wednesday. Hours after the White House released a memorandum summarizing that the call between the two leaders, after seeing the complaint, one Democratic congressman described it as nothing short of explosive. The complaint precipitated House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to decision to announce a formal impeachment inquiry to Thursday. The administrator's decision to give lawmakers that the document came on the day after the Senate voted unanimously on a resolution demanding the material. The House was set to vote on its own resolution on Thursday. Before the committees were given, the Democrat Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr told reporters his committee had received the whistleblower. Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr told reporters his committee had received the whistleblower complaint short after 5 p.m. Members of the House and Senate Intelligence Committees and party leaders screamed in and out of a secure hearing room on Capitol Hill late Thursday afternoon and examined the document, which was, lawmakers said, was 10 to 12 pages long. In a quick statement after viewing the report, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff said, "I want to thank the whistleblower for coming forward. I found the allegation deeply disturbing and very credible. I can understand why the Inspector General found them credible," Schiff said. Democratic Congressman Mike quickly told reporters that the complaint reinforces her concern and called it disturbing and alarming. Democratic Representative Jackie Speier of California said MSNBC Wednesday night that the complaint is nothing short of the explosive. It is so much more than the summary of the telephone that call has been presented by the White House as evidence. I'm not even in a position to say that was involved in the complaint until it actually declassified. I can tell you that I was stunned by the breadth of the complaint and the details which his whistleblower expressed in his concern. The Associated Press says Most Republicans are quiet or defended the president as they left the secure room. Senate Intelligence Committee member Van Cesse of Nebraska said, "This is going to take a lot of time, but there's obviously some really troubling things here." Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph Magor will testify public before the House Intelligence Committee on Thursday before appearing privately before the Senate Intelligence Committee. The House Committee hearing to address the whistleblower complaint about the President Trump's call with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to begin at 9 a.m. Lawmakers got their first look at the whistleblower complaint Wednesday afternoon. Members of the Intelligence Committee and party leader screamed in and out of a secure hearing room on Capitol Hill late Thursday afternoon to examine the document, which one lawmaker said was 10 to 12 pages long. The complaint involves the phone calls between Trump and Zelensky on July 25, during which Mr. Trump asked Zelensky to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and his son. The call came days after the Trump administration froze nearly $400 billion in aid to Ukrainian. Magor released a statement about the whistleblower complaint Thursday, stating he wanted to make clear, "And I have upheld my responsibility to follow the law every step of the way." He said he is committed to protecting whistleblowers and ensuring every complaint is handled appropriately, and that he would work with the administration and Congress to find a resolution regarding this important matter. The whistleblower, who has not yet been publicly identified, also want to testify before the committee. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff announced on Twitter that the committee is in touch with the counsel for the whistleblower, and the testimony will happen as soon as this week. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani on Wednesday warned world leaders that tensions are high in the Persian Gulf region and that a single blunder could fuel a big fire. Rouhani made the comments while speaking the 74th United Nations General Assembly. The Iranian president directly addressed Trump, calling him the incumbent US president. "Our response to any negotiations under the sanction is negative," he said. Rouhani called out the US for international piracy and Maryland's economic terrorism. Referring for the increase in US sanctions when asked about negotiation at the UN this week, Mr. Trump said, "We are in a strong position with Iran. After 4 decades of the failure, it is time for Iran leaders to step forward and to stop threatening over the countries and focus on building up their own country. America is ready to embrace friendship with all who genuinely seek peace and respect," he said. Many of America's closest friends today are once four gravest foes. The US has never believed in parliament enemies. US Acting Special Envoy for Hostess Affairs Hugh Duggan was in US seat while Iran's leader spoke, while Mr. Trump focused on the impeachment inquiry and expected to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky before the departs New York. Iran's president said was neither interested in negotiation nor memento photo with Trump. Rouhani said that the region is on the edge of collapse. He pointed the conflicts in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq and said that the Trump administration was not able to bring peace to the conflicts in those countries. Since the US withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, the Trump administration has imposed biting sanctions and prevented other nations from continuing with trade with Iran. The UN on Wednesday, the European Union High Representative Federica Mogherini met with the Ministry of China, France, Germany, Russia Federation and the United Kingdom and said, "We will welcome the efforts that have been made to open channels of dialogues," adding all other countries are typing to present the agreement. Mogherini added that Iran's action to break the deal's nuclear deals limits are reversible. "Our patience has limits," Rouhani warned. An unrepentant Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Wednesday brushed off crisis of resign and dared his foes to try to topple with the Russia's session of parliament Britain's High Court ruled one day earlier that he acted illegally, suspending Parliament ahead of the Brexit deadline. Amid shouts, angry gestures, and repeated cries of orders in the House of Commons, Johnson emphatically defended his intention to withdraw Britain from the European Union on October 21st with or without a suspension agreement with the EU. "I say it is time to get Brexit done," he declared, accusing his opponents of trying to frustrate that will of the people who is, in 2016, voted 52% to 48% to leave the 28-nation bloc. Johnson was greeted with applause from his own conservative lawmakers, jeers from the opposition sides as he arrived at the Commons, hours after cutting short a trip of the United Nations in New York. BBC News political editor said Commons was an absolute bear pit with so much vitriol on all sides. He flew home early after Britain's Supreme Court unanimously ruled Tuesday that his attempt to suspend Parliament for 5 weeks had the effect of stemming its scrutiny of the government over Brexit. The court declared the suspension void. The leader of the main opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, said Parliament Minister is not fit to govern and should have done the honourable things and resigned after the ruling. He said Johnson thinks to above the law and has shown no share of rumours or humanity. "Have you no shame, Prime Minister?" said Ian Beckford, the Scottish National Party's leaders in Parliament. Labour lawmaker Jess Phillips urged Johnson to act with some humility and contrition. Member of the Parliament accused him of showing disrespect for the rule of the law and deceiving Queen Elizabeth II when asked for the permission to prorogue or suspend Parliament. Over and over, they called on him to say he was sorry, but Johnson ignored calls to step down or apologize, showing no sign of contrition during the more than 3-hour question and answer session. He said disagree with the Supreme Court's 10-0 ruling and repeatedly refused to rule out the possibility of suspending Parliament again. The Prime Minister said a new election is the only way to unblock Britain's paralyzed Parliament. That's all for today. Thanks for staying with us.